was time for a move, and so said, let's go for adventure. Hello, Arizona. So that's how we wound up here. And so as soon as I got here, everyone kept saying, you know, there's no history here. But I was like, every time I go somewhere, either on foot, on bike, in a car, there's all these amazing people, places, and stories that no one's talking about. And so I was like, well, let's start talking about those. And so that's kind of how this whole tour even grew up. Was we started doing, Deb and I started doing this tour originally on a bus a decade ago. And then we knew as soon as COVID hit, it's like no one's going to get on a bus with strangers. So let's take a look and see if we can make a downtown walking tour out of it. Which has been a lot of fun because it's such a different way to connect to the history, because you can reach out, you can touch a building. And so people are processing these different, people are remembering different things, so that's fun. So this is my co-host, Deb.
Hello, I'm Deb Branning, and I've been doing the tour.
Wait, turn you on. I was saying nobody can hear you.
Okay. I didn't want to screech again. I'm Deb Branning, and I've been doing the tour with Marshall Man, like you said, for the last 10 years. And I really like the walking tour because we get to go, like he says, we can touch the buildings and see the buildings up close. Because when you're on the bus, you're just kind of waltzing by, and sometimes you don't even pick up on the building we're at till we're at the next building. So this has been kind of fun. I've really enjoyed it.
Yeah, so it's a very different way to just interact with the city.
Yeah, and I'm an author, and I'm also a paranormal investigator, so that's what I do. And so this makes it kind of fun. You know, we're always looking for new stories about the buildings and the spirits that are there.
Yeah, in fact, actually, as we're walking around, I'll include something that somebody who was on the tour told us about a building he used to work in. So you never know. Maybe your story might wind up as part of the tour as well. So let's go ahead and start. We're actually going to go just like... Now, this building started off much smaller. It's had a lot of different additions built onto it. It is now ASU's gym. And so that's where we then get this building, which is part of the Y.M.C.A. as well. So it's had a varied history, but some of those folks that talk about staying here have talked about, okay, so can you imagine you're in your bed, you're in your room by yourself, no one else is there. Suddenly your hairbrush lands in your bed. You look up and you see a head floating. Maybe you see a torso floating above you. So Deb, why do people say that they might see a head floating around?
Okay, there was a salesman that was staying here, and it was not at this Y.M.C.A. building, but the one down the street, the old one on Jefferson. And we've got to remember, there were salesmen, there were servicemen that all stayed at the Y.M.C.A. because it was a safe place to stay. Well, apparently he wasn't making his sales. So one night when he was in his room, he took, you know, a sharp razor, and I think he was just going to slit his throat, but he ended up pretty much severing the, you know, head off of his torso. And that, we believe, is why they see a floating head in the rooms, or they see a body without a, you know, without a head in the building. So it just goes to tell you, you have to be careful when you check into one of these rooms, because you might be sharing it with him. Now people go, well, why is he, if he died at the other building, why is he here at this building? Well, we kind of believe that when they, you know, built this one, they moved some of the old furniture, maybe some of the old dressers, some of the old beds to this particular building in the beginning. And so he came along with that energy from those old relics from the old building.
Right, so one Mexican movies and music. And because of what they were doing, again, this building was saved. If they hadn't been here, it would have been torn down, just like all those other movie palaces. Now, from them, the city bought it and went on a huge renovation. It was really well worn. And so when they did that, to try and save money, they did things like, when you look at this entryway here, when you walk in, you can see where there obviously were originally 2 floors. Well, now there's just one vaulted ceiling that goes all the way up. But there are still people who talk about how you will see a woman walk by who's holding a lantern, just like she's walking on a floor that's still there. Now, as we are watching, we may see something come up for, they are doing ghost tours just of the Orpheum. So that is our friend Joe, who's working with some other folks, and so they have gone through, done recordings and things like that, and play those back. And so probably one of the most prevalent spirits is Maddie. a woman who shows up at intermission dressed to the nines. In fact, we've got a friend who was in there to see a show. At intermission, she saw this woman with this really amazing hat. So she went to go to her to ask her about her hat, and she vanished before her eyes. Now, so Deb, did I forget anything?
Well, you know, I have my favorite ghost here, and I've heard it from like the children that come to the theater to take tours for their schools, and they'll be in the lobby and inside the theater, and they walk up because they take them to the stage, and the kids will look up into the rafters and they go, "There's a cat up there. We see a cat." And of course, the teachers and the staff don't see a cat, but when they were building the theater, the workmen started taking in a little tuxedo cat. He would come by and nibble on their sandwiches. They were giving him scraps, so he, you know, it was kind of a daily thing. So they named him Tom, so I call him Tuxedo Tom. And so that's the cat that the kids see when they're doing the tours. And he's seen quite often up in the rafters of the building, because that's where he would hide out. Because he's a ghost, and only children can see him because he's a little kitty. So yeah, he's had more than 9 lives, I believe.
Indeed he has. Now, you know how we had talked about at the Westward Ho that celebrities such as JFK would be staying there? Well, they also, around the Hotel San Carlos, they have a walk of fame going around with stars on it. There is one star for Marilyn Monroe. Now, it is said that there were times when Marilyn would be staying here, JFK would be at the Westward Ho, but they were never seen meeting on street level. So the thought is they might have been able to commingle by meeting through tunnels that the city says don't exist. Now,
and there you have it, the Haunted History Tour of downtown Phoenix with the Hipstorian himself, Marshall Shore. Marshall, thank you so much. I really enjoyed that tour, and who knew such shenanigans went on at the San Carlos? Okay.
Oh, the San Carlos Securities Building. I mean, so many shenanigans going on in downtown Phoenix back in the day.
I mean, they were getting presidential, if you know what I mean. But, so, you've been doing this a while now.
Yes, we've actually been doing this tour over a decade.
That is great. Now, I used to live here. I lived here back in the late 90s, and I lived here for 9 years. I still didn't know like 80% of what you told us tonight. I was like, no way. You know, I used to go to a bar right there, and this happened here. Why did I know that? So, now, for anyone who's going to be visiting Phoenix, where can they find you? Where can they, what else you have going on? You have some other things going on.
Right, I mean, so I do have a variety of things. So you can always check out www.hiphistorian.com is probably the best source to go to for things. You can also check me out on Facebook at Hipstorian. You can also Instagram as well. So yeah, easy to find.
Awesome. They'll be so easy. In fact, I will provide links to all of his social media in the video description below.
Oh, no, so just down there?
Yeah, right down there. Well,
all right.
I like to put this on camera, you know, we're kind of camera hogs. I think we're right there.
Oh, I'm such a wallflower. What are you talking about?
And this could have been awkward. I almost wore that same shirt.
Oh, man.
So, thank you again for watching. Thank you, Marshall, for the tour. I had a blast. Everyone we went with had a blast. So, once again, this is Wild Card Journeys. I'm your host, Eric, and I hit the road to make videos about the paranormal, various urban legends, or whatever might be out there, like a hip historian. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you on the journey. Okay, beautiful.
Sweet.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Very good.
Now,